what would you say is the best lessons you learned on a Tyler Perry production, Diary of a Mad Black Woman?
Wow, it's funny because I love hearing that because when I worked with him, literally Diary was the first film he'd ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really honored because, I mean, first of all, I was not really aware of his work. I hadn't seen Medea's plays, like I hadn't seen them live. I knew
Mm-hmm.
of them, but I was not familiar. So I got flown to Atlanta. We all sat down for a dinner, and I remember looking around the table, and it was basically it was the main cast, and he was explaining why he'd written the film and how he began writing. Like we all know the story. He was watching an Oprah
Mm-hmm.
episode, and she said, diary, keeping a journal was cathartic, and he said I had to look up the word cathartic. And
Right.
once I figured that out, I started, I was living out of my car, and I began writing. And he said, and I got the call to put up a play, and I put it up, and no one came. And he said, I think he was in his second week, and like, as to hear him tell it, God had my back because I got into a theater that I had no business being in because I was not
Mm-hmm.
experienced, but they gave me a shot, and I was there, and no one was coming, just a smattering of people. And second week, smattering of people, and he said, and he was sitting in his dressing room, and he, just sort of, you know, brought it before God and said, why did you give me this message? Why did you tell me to do this if only to
Mm-hmm.
fail?
Yeah.
Like, why am I here? What am I doing? And he said, after he said his prayers, he looked out the window, and there was a line around the corner to get into the theater. People had told people who'd told people, and he had his first sold out house, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And for me, what I learned, above and beyond anything professional, what I learned from Tyler was faith and
Mm.
purpose
Yeah.
and trusting in what you're given, trusting in the guidance you're given because, he brought us out to Atlanta. He had never done a film ever, ever, ever. He put up
Mm-hmm.
his own money. Lionsgate gave him a shot. And, we were shooting in his house. And, I felt really sort of honored to be there for the first experience because he
Yeah.
was vulnerable. It was new. He didn't,
Mm-hmm.
he was just getting his sea legs in the film world, and
Yeah.
now Tyler is who he is, and it's an
Yeah.
amazing thing. So much less, I learned nothing about hitting my marks and professionalism. I learned so much about faith from him. Like that,
Yeah.
that was my takeaway.